You got that guy Thompson?
He's a famous violinist.
Wow. That's me, Thompson. I produce music.
I'm Brian Goldstien. I went from special ed student to 8-figure CEO.
I'm Andy Cali Fresh, and I'm a double agent. And together, we are the Three Wise Men.
What's up, guys? Got Paul Van Dunk here with us today, firearms instructor specialist. Want to tell us a little something about you?
Yeah, so I'm Paul Van Dunk, as he said. I run Pace Performance Consulting. I run a small, private, instructional company, and what we do is we teach civilians, law enforcement, military, how to shoot to a level of performance. One of the coolest things that we get to do is work with guys like Brian here on small projects, large projects, and make sure that he's kind of up to snuff on what he's got going on. So Brian got a hold of me, so that's kind of why I'm here to come and lend my hands.
Well, let's see what magic we can do on the range today, buddy. I hit it twice.
Yeah, he's hitting it twice now. We got to baby steps.
James hit it twice.
Stand by. Show him what's up. Give me two.
Let's see what Brian's got. Let's see the skills.
There you go. Holster up. One more time with effort. Hit him. Fast to the gun, slow to the sight. Reload it. Enthusiastic clap area. My man, hit that button. Give me two more. Get your grip. There you go. One more. There you go. See how when that grip.
So we're going over the basics of gun safeties, so you guys know what you're doing when you go to the range, so you don't look like a newbie, I guess, right?
Right, God, please.
Yeah. I mean, like, you don't want to embarrass yourself. So here are the tips from the pro, what to do so you don't look like a moron when you show up at the range for the first time.
Exactly.
What do you do?
So obviously we have our eyes and our ears, which we're wearing now.
Eyes and ears?
It's so that we don't get ricochets off the metal targets or any target for that matter coming out from the range. Protect our eyes, protect our ears from the noise of multiple gunfire plus our gunfire.
Yeah, that's something I learned today, by the way. These headphone things, these ear protection, they have an on and off button, so you can actually hear the person's voice. I didn't know you guys had this stuff.
That's great. It's noise.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah. So when you shoot, it'll click, so it cuts out that high decimal count from the gun shooting.
Yeah.
Which saves your ears. At least we hope.
So these things are amazing. I didn't even know they existed till today. So if you're going to the range and you want some good what do you call these things? Headphones. So if you want some good headphones, like, I think because the last time I went to the range, I just had ones on that blocked out everything. So when I wanted to talk to somebody, I took one side off and then I got deafened by some gun in the bay next to me going off. I didn't know these things existed. So if you can get these, definitely get a pair of these. These are amazing, game changers.
Definitely. Going over the basic 4 safety rules of a gun, right?
4?
So there's 4.
4 safety rules. That's what you have to remember, guys.
So one thing I have here, right? We have the Hellcat and I have the slide lock back, showing that there's nothing in the magazine wall, there's nothing in the chamber, which is a clear gun. Okay, so there's nothing in there. However, every time you hand the gun off, for example, if I'm going to hand this off to you, you would do the same thing. You would grab the gun, you would pull back the slide so it locks the way it locks there, and you will show that the firing chamber is empty and the magazine wall is empty.
Okay, so I just take it from you anyway, right? So if I give it to you,
right?
Like,
so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at the gun, right?
Make sure it's good.
Lock it back, make sure the slide's locked, chamber's empty, and there's nothing in the magazine wall. For me, that's a safe gun, right? Make sure there's nothing in there, because the last thing we want is a negligent, an accidental discharge. Yeah. Which is not an accident, just negligence.
Yeah.
This is why we go over the 4 basic safety rules,
Accidental
right?
discharge sounds like something else. You don't want to be doing any accidental discharges. Discharges.
See, I can't even
Fucking hell. No matter what you're doing, no accidental discharges in anything in life. Stay away from that shit.
Second thing.
So
Finger stays on the slide 24/7.
Don't finger your gun.
Exactly. Don't finger your gun.
No
Keep
fingering
it off
guns.
the trigger. Please.
Because you might excite it and it might go off. So
and that's
no
a bad
fingering
thing.
your gun.
That's a bad thing.
That's an easy way to remember it. Keep yourself out of trouble, boys.
Yeah.
What else we got? So we got 2 more safety tips.
The next one is always be aware of your backdrop. So gun's empty, fingers off the trigger, and now we're looking at our backdrop. In this case, there's no people. It's just a hillside, so we're not going to really worry about who we're going to hit. We're going to be cognizant of what we're shooting, because the last thing we want is a ricochet to hit us in the chest.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about last time, right? So if you're protecting yourself at home or whatever, and you miss the person, it might go through your wall and you could kill somebody accidentally in another apartment or something else like that, the other room.
Exactly.
And that's not a good day for you. So always be aware of that. Super important.
Correct. And finally, never point your weapon unless you're willing to shoot that object. So if I'm going to point my gun, I got to be sure that I'm going to shoot. I'm going to make the decision 110%. My weapon's going out and I'm on target, on site. I'm taking that shot.
I feel like that's the first way to spot a newbie, right? If you go to a gun store to buy a gun and somebody shows you the weapon and you immediately accidentally point them at it because you don't know what you're doing, you're going to look like an idiot. So That's probably one of the biggest tips you can know, right?
Right, exactly. You don't want to
no matter
muzzle
what.
anybody. That's the last thing you want to do is muzzle somebody. You know, especially someone that's in law enforcement or military. The last thing that we're gonna want, and someone's gonna tell you something. Hey, dude, get that fucking gun out of my face. And then you're like, oh my god, because you don't know any better. And that's the thing that you need to pick up and realize, especially if you're buying guns with all this stuff going on now with COVID and making sure you're protected and your family's protected. You got to know what you're doing first. Don't just go buy a gun and not have a clue what you're doing, because then you're endangering yourself and your family at that point, and it's not worth it.
There you go, guys. They're the 4 most important tips. And like in life, remember, never accidentally discharge. It won't do anybody any good at all. And never finger anything unless they're ready to go.
That's the best way to remember it. Because if not, you're not gonna remember.
So I'm sure some of you guys have never shot a gun before. I remember the very first time I shot a gun, like, you're kind of nervous, right? You're standing there, you don't know what to expect. So I'm just wondering if there's any sort of pro tips of like how to get over that nervousness if you are a little bit nervous the first time you shoot a gun.
There's a lot of things to consider. The main thing is those 4 basic safety rules, right? Those are the things you want to keep in mind. However, I mean, you put a magazine in this gun and you put rounds in it, it's not a joke at that point anymore. You know, now it's serious. Now the gun's loaded.
Yeah, when you hold your arms out.
Right, when you hold your arms out, you want to center your body mass and push out. So your body's squared away, center mass, pushing up your target, and then you're shooting.
That makes sense. See, me going to the gym, I'm automatically thinking that I should have a little bend in my elbow.
Right.
So I didn't think that you should lock out, so I just learned something new.
Right, and everyone has a different way of doing things. That's just my way of shooting. There's competition shooting has another way of shooting. I have, you know, my law enforcement side where I want that nice base, that nice foundation. You know, I'm situated. Now, in a perfect world, is that going to happen? Probably not, but nonetheless, you try for it every single time.
Sweet. Well, let's shoot some shit and let's get to work.
So I'm going to hand it over to you. Remember, it's already loaded. There's 1 in the chamber. So
gentle always. All right, like this. How do I look? Yep. Oops. Back.
Sure.
That packs a pretty good punch, hey?
Yeah, it does, right?
That's pretty impressive for a small gun.
Let's see if I can.
It really kicks back.
I know. Okay, so slide lock to the rear. You got an empty gun.
Empty gun. All rounds are gone.
Good to go. All rounds are gone.
She's blown a load. Time to reload.
Good to go.
Good to go.
That's our quick little basic setup. There's a lot more we need to learn, but I think we covered the important stuff that you want to pay attention to when you're discharging it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's have some more fun.